Nintendo has taken center stage this week as far as the news cycle goes. And that's all for the Switch too. But oddly enough, they kinda released their secret formula for their success. And no one's talking about it. So let's break that all down. Up next. What's going on, guys? It's Kalo, and I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel for weekly video game news content. Drop a like on the video, and welcome to the Level Up. Alright, so Nintendo, as all of you know by now, has been chatting a bit about the Switch 2, which can be accredited to this investors call they held earlier this week. And while it's nice to finally get word on the Switch 2 in all of its glory, many people have been trying to crack the code that is Nintendo over the years. I've always said they're just kind of this weird, quirky company that just stands as this immovable titan within the gaming space, and that's been for pretty much my whole life. And they kinda just do this by operating as they see fit and marching to the beat of their own drum. Sure, I knocked them about things like Alarmo and their weird business strategies over the years, but here they are raking in all the money, so the bigger question now is, how do they do this? Like, why are Nintendo fans mad at them, especially when they make odd calls, yet they still stand tall at the end of the day? Well, thanks to this new Q&A that Nintendo held following this investors call, we got a peek behind the curtain, so to speak, when it comes to Nintendo's secret formula. And I really wanted to take some time today to break it all down. Now, bear with me as some of this was translated and there's a lot to get through, but I promise it'll all make sense at the end of the day. So the first question up. In today's presentation, it was mentioned that the successor of the Nintendo Switch will be able to play Nintendo Switch software and continue to support Nintendo Switch Online. Given this, won't the motivation for current Switch owners to purchase the new hardware immediately upon release be diminished? How does Nintendo plan to convey the unique appeal of the successor console to these customers? And to that, Nintendo's president Shintaro Furukawa had this to say. Quote, "We explained that the successor to the Nintendo Switch will allow users to play software designed for the Nintendo Switch. Given the wide adoption of the Nintendo Switch, we believe that making it possible for customers to play their existing Nintendo Switch software on the successor console is the optimal choice. This compatibility will allow customers to continue enjoying the games they've already purchased and select their next titles from the extensive library available for the Nintendo Switch. We will provide further information about the successor console, including compatibility with the Nintendo Switch, at a later date. As a company that offers integrated hardware and software entertainment, we are committed to showcasing its appeal through various approaches, as we have done in the past." Now, the question posed here is a valid one. If this device pretty much mimics the current Switch, but it's just faster, what's the real driving force behind it? Like, why should I go out and buy it? And this is a big deal for Nintendo, because honestly, that wouldn't be enough for most people. But again, this is Nintendo, so they do have plans in place to make the overall experience on this device unique, which I think kind of lends to this idea for the console's big feature, whatever that's gonna be. Next up is question 2, and it has to do with a big issue of mine within the gaming world, and that all has to do with the rising cost of development for next generation games. And this is something in the past where I've applauded Nintendo for this, because out of everyone who just seems to kind of be lit on fire at the moment and scrambling to make any amount of money they can when setting the bar higher, Nintendo is just kind of out here in the field picking daisies. And to kind of geek out about this, I do love hearing from these people. Shigeru Miyamoto answered this question, which makes it a little cooler. Quote, "Nintendo's research and development expenses have been rising yearly. Given that the scale of development has expanded, some cost increases are unavoidable. However, we place more importance on content we create rather than the size of the development budget. We aim to create products we believe will satisfy our customers, investing as much effort as necessary to ensure a polished final product. The key element of identifying themes worth refining, a principle that has remained unchanged since the days of the family computer, or the Famicom. While personal preference vary, it is certain that innovations, things that have never been seen before, are always worth exploring. The more we refine such novel concepts, the more value they acquire. Our focus is on nurturing developers who value Nintendo's uniqueness, enabling them to dedicate sufficient resources to reach a satisfying level of completion for each game. In the entertainment industry, including toys, it is possible to create appealing products based on creativity of ideas without high cost. Not every product needs to have high development expenses. In gaming too, it's possible to create fun experiences with a small team and a short development period, given today's technology. Maintaining this perspective is crucial. Now, that response right there, it's pretty fun to hear about, but at the end of the day, Nintendo's track record proves this stuff works. Yes, they do release big-time games like Tears of the Kingdom or Mario Odyssey, but in between are those smaller releases that do expand on the source IP. For that, I look to games like Echoes of Wisdom that prove there is a market for these smaller games, and as it just turns out, some of those games turn out to be cult classics. And let's not forget, even for Tears of the Kingdom, while I'm sure it did take a lot of time and patience to develop, it did reuse assets from Breath of the Wild, which in many ways is a smart way to develop a game. Thus, like they said, it kind of cut down on that development time as well. And on the surface, maybe I missed something, it was a great game and a great sequel. Now, last but certainly not least, to kind of bring it all home, here's the final question. Quote, when developing new hardware, it's essential to focus on Nintendo's unique style of innovation. However, if the device is overly unique, it might make software development challenging for third-party developers. How does Nintendo balance innovation with ease of development for external software creators? Then Nintendo replied to this by saying, quote, the unique functions and features in our hardware are not created by the hardware development team alone. Rather, they are developed collaboratively with the software development team to determine how we can deliver a unique entertainment experience. Naturally, we also consider the needs of third-party developers during this process. In development, we create various prototypes, test how they feel, and refines on ones that show the most promise. Recently, the importance of system software that runs the hardware and software has also increased. Therefore, system software developers now play a crucial role in this integrated development process. Balancing uniqueness with the ease of development is something we have valued over the years. Moving forward, we aim to continue producing products that reflects Nintendo's unique approach, while also considering ease of development for software creators. And that right there is something I think Xbox should really be listening to. They've had problems, allegedly, with the Series S, and how hard it's to develop for that platform, which did come at a cost of some big-time titles coming to the Xbox platform. But to kind of reel it back into Nintendo here, this was the biggest response out of anything we talked about today. Focusing in on making it easier to develop for the Switch 2 will pay off so much for that device. They really started to open the Switch towards the end of its life cycle, and because of that, we really seen multiple indie devs and third-party devs you really wouldn't expect being on the console release games on that platform. And for that, I look at that LEGO Horizon game. Long story short here with Nintendo, trying to keep all that in mind as far as ease of use goes, and being able to innovate on all that, makes the Switch 2 nearly a dream scenario. And for that, I'm mainly talking about developing for and being a consumer of it. Now, everything we kind of talked about today allows Nintendo to take these chances on Alarmo and those weird quirky things in between like Labo, because they can do all that and it really doesn't come at a cost. They're just out here having fun. Yet they remain the top dog in the gaming world for a very good reason. It's everything mentioned here today. But with all that being said, I'm going to pass this one off to you guys. What do you think about what we talked about today? But that about does it here. I've been K-Lo. I gave you the lowdown on all things gaming. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel for weekly video game news content. Drop a like on the video, and this has been the Level Up.